Hey, and welcome to the Hodl Review. This is Jeff. You're here exclusively on the chain. Today, we are going to talk a little bit about XRP price momentum. What is going on? What is the catalyst that could actually take XRP from the best stable coin ever known, the best stable token, always hovering in that 20 the 25-cent range. We're going to talk about that. There is a lot of news, a lot of things happening, giving momentum to the digital asset space. But in particular, we want to focus in on XRP today. I don't like to do a lot of FOMO pieces, but I think this culmination of articles, as we put it together, we can look at past and kind of where things are going. And we're definitely going to see a specific direction and outcome, for where the digital asset space is going in general, but where XRP is going. So let's take a look at this. It's going to start right now.
And now, the HODL Review with Jeff on the chain.
Bam! So that's it. All right. A little bit of hype in this video today. I'm not big into the FOMO videos. I'm not into the hypey videos, but we've got to take a look at this. I think number one that we have to look at, because this is Ripple XRP, huge price gains. Why is it that we have to pay attention right now? Why is it that if we miss it, we have the potential missing out? That's what we want to talk about. Now, the first thing that we have to really identify is the fact that the markets globally have had a lack of regulatory clarity. The United States always seems to be kind of like the catalyst, the momentum that carries things forward. We know that the US has been very lackadaisical in figuring out regulatory clarity. However, there's been some things happening as of late. Darren Soto has been in the forefront again, as well as some other congressional representatives that are pushing for regulatory clarity for cryptocurrency, digital asset, blockchain, what have you. We're also starting to see the same thing creep up in Russia, in Europe, down in the Caribbean, all over the place. We're starting to see some regulatory jockeying going on. We're going to talk about that Saturday morning on the live stream, on the HODL Review live stream, 8 a.m. Saturday. Hey, I just want to give a shout out though. If you guys like this video, make sure you give a thumbs up. If you're new, make sure you hit that subscribe button. If you haven't hit that bell notifier yet and you want to see other videos like this, make sure you hit that, and obviously check into our live streams. Those are phenomenal. It's a way to engage with the community. So now back to this. Now, is the time near? That's the big question. Is Ripple XRP, is the crypto space, is everything getting ready to really blow up and kind of move back into this complete bull market, FOMO, whatever it might be, to see all of the digital asset space move to the next level? Now, there's so many things right now that kind of, lead us into this idea, that yes, in fact, that's exactly what's happening. We're starting to really see the momentum. We're starting to see some transitions. We're starting to see from, group to group, we're actually, there's some amazing things happening. Now, first and foremost, there was this article that popped up that was on Crypto Flash News. I don't know. There's all these news aggregators popping up all over the place. Some of them are writing, some aren't. But these guys hit it right on the head to start this whole conversation off. Former Ripple executive, his comment was, banks will need XRP for payment system of the future. Now, this was an article that just came out a couple days ago. I mean, that's amazing, right? So banks need XRP. That's one thing that everybody seems to be focused on since Ripple came out with a RippleNet solution. It's like, well, is XRP really needed? But you're not using it. So if you're not really using it, you're not having the banks engage in it, is XRP really needed? And so I think that is really like top of mind, for everybody. Is this something that's key? Now, this is where, I mean, you go article by article by article, that is really highlighting the fact that indeed the cross-border payments are right on the and this was, I'm going to use this title because I think it was perfect. This was on Crowdfund Insider, and the title of the article is "Cross-Border Payments Are on the Cusp of Transformation." Now, this was as per Marcus Treacher, Senior Vice President of Customer Success at American FinTech Ripple, right? So that what a great comment. I mean, it really is amazing. So he goes on and says the power of ISO standardization and the innovative technology approach of RippleNet, which is decentralized network of global financial institutions that are conducting transaction through Ripple's networks. This article goes on to say Treacher reveals that cross-border payments are on the cusp of transformation. He claims that blockchain or distributed ledger tech, DLT, and digital assets such as XRP can potentially offer a more frictionless global payment solution. So is this the case? Why is it now that we're getting bombarded with articles? Is this just a bunch of, XRP, moon boys and girls out there, writing these articles, all these fanboys, whatever, that are like, XRP, 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 the XRP maximalist, similar to the Bitcoin maximalist? Or is this the real kind of trend where we're starting to see the assimilation of digital asset globally, all over the world, and we're starting to see regulatory clarity starting to catch on. But at the same point as it's catching on, the world is watching. They're saying, well, are they looking at these kind of empty promises? I don't want to beat up on it, but look at Tron for an example. Tron kind of started up big promises, but not a lot of substance. Dogecoin, which was considered to be a joke coin to begin with, but a lot of followers. Now you get into mainstream, and you're getting people that are invested in high tech. They're invested in typically, the bigger institutions, the more traditional type of stock, the brick and mortars, where they're kind of buy and holds over long term. Now they want to get into this digital asset space, and they're like, well, I gotta navigate. Do I really want to invest in something that I can't really, touch, feel, see, and understand? Or are they going to get into something like a Ripple or an XRP that is being utilized by a Ripple or RippleNet type solution that is actually trying to solve a real problem? And that's where it gets exciting. And that's where you start, trying to piece this together. All these FOMO YouTubers out there that are a bunch of hype are always trying to read in between the lines of every little last article that comes out, like, oh my God, look at this word he said. This is definitely XRP, even though it doesn't say XRP. But no, it's got to be XRP, and that's why it's going to 1,000. And that's kind of just ridiculous nonsense, right? So now what we're doing is really digging in, and we're looking to say, okay, what's the trend of the market? What's going on from a geopolitical perspective? How are the governments reacting? How are the economies reacting? How are the central banks reacting? And more importantly, how are they responding to this digital asset space, and which digital assets are they responding to? So here you have, again, in the article, he focuses on this need to pre-fund accounts is called the liquidity problem, and is one of the causes of holdups with cross-border payments. Ripple has developed on-demand liquidity, ODL, which uses XRP to enable funds to be sent to destination accounts immediately, literally on demand, rather than days beforehand. So we understand that it's really a game changer in the space, right? So then as we move on and we can move forward, here's another article came out on the Daily Hodl, and this article came out again also September 13th. It's interesting, the trend, boom, boom, boom. Each article kind of hits on spot. This was a Bitcoin analyst says that XRP will annihilate almost every other altcoin. And then he goes in to kind of explain why that's the case. And here you have Crypto Whale on Twitter. This is one of the feeds. He has 34,000 followers out there. Per this article, he said, the only project in the entire market that's pushing for crypto regulations is XRP. And I won't say it's XRP that's pushing for it, but we could say that Ripple and the XRP community, but I think there's a lot within the community in general that are pushing for some regulatory clarity. I think that Ripple as a corporation, as an entity, is behind it. I won't say that so much it's XRP, but he goes on to say they know that once these regulations are added, it will completely annihilate almost every other altcoin and make XRP's demand skyrocket. Well, it's more, I think he's a little bit incorrect in his theory here, but but also kind of on the point where once regulatory clarity happens, then we're going to see solutions like RippleNet through Ripple is going to take hold. That's where the banks are going to begin to utilize ODL. That's where we're going to see the demand for XRP increase. So, maybe that's kind of where he is going. Didn't really highlight it there, but that's the demand. You see the financial institutions, you're going to see the banks. That's where they're going to start gravitating towards utilizing ODL, which might be why they've been holding off, this whole time. But per this article, it's really interesting because as you look at the space, so many people are hyper-focused and like mainstream are hyper-focused on the 2017, 2018 FOMO hype bull market run, the boom, where we saw XRP go to $3. But in reality, if you look at like year to year, since 2014, XRP is up by more than 10,000% since 2014 in the past 6 years. Now show me another stock that has done anything like that. And this is an exact reason why XRP is in that top 5 position or top 3 position consistently, is because of the fact that if you go back to its initiation till today, all the coins, every single digital asset in that 2017, 2018 period that had been around, these core, they all had this FOMO bump. And then they all pulled back significantly. Bitcoin, Ethereum, all of them made this big pullback. Now XRP is basically sitting at the same point that it was in that last quarter of 2017. So what's changed? We had, basically 3 years have gone by and not a lot of momentum, even though there was some hype and it went up. All the market kind of came down and it settled. It didn't drop down to zero, but at that same time, you start seeing projects and a lot developing in the Ethereum space with smart contracts. You start seeing more and more hype still surrounding Bitcoin, first mover advantage, a perfect use case for store of value. You see countries around the world, you see people utilizing it to help stabilize, get into a stable environment outside of their hyperinflationary currencies. And then you have still XRP and what is actually creating the momentum, which again is the RippleNet solution, the financial institutions, and there is so much more to this. So then we go on and look at Reuters. And this is, to me, you start piecing all these things together and you start understanding that something is actually happening here. So yesterday, an article that came out on Reuters, the title of this is U.S. Crypto FinTech Firms to Benefit from Slimmed Down Regulatory Process. Now, as you kind of get into it, what's going on within this regulatory framework? Well, you have money transmitters, according to this article, like Western Union, PayPal, and cryptocurrency firms are going to more easily expand across the U.S. So one of the things that have held back a lot of the exchanges, a lot of the states make it extremely difficult to open up exchanges. But in this scenario, you have payment solutions, your cryptocurrency firms that are actually going to be able to get into and expand throughout the U.S., but really, I don't want to say overcome, but the point here is that there's going to be really like a single type of test where the state regulators are going to be able to apply to these organizations, really to simplify. The goal here is to simplify and transition and allow this space to breathe, allow it to grow. There's a lot going on here, so we need to see it. So as you start seeing, from a regulatory perspective, they get it, right? They understand that something needs to change. Now, you get in a little bit deeper, and it's not just XRP, but in general. So here's Jack Dorsey. He's looking at, in this article was on Decrypt, said Bitcoin must be made intuitive to succeed. Jack Dorsey thinks that Bitcoin is the native currency of the internet, but it still needs a lot of work to become mainstream. Now, Jack Dorsey, as you know him as CEO of Twitter and Cash App, he believes that Bitcoin does have a place in the space. But what does that mean to be intuitive? That really, from my perspective, without just reading into this whole article and getting their perspective, but it means that it needs to be easier to use. You can't have, the complexity of it. It has to be something that just happens, right? It just has to be a solution that when mainstream wants to use it, it's like hooking up a credit card. Using a credit card is intuitive. It's easy. It's an easy implementation. Zelle is semi-intuitive, but it really isn't, because you can't really utilize it for everything. You can move some money between people, but you still need to get it set up. You need a solution that is going to be a little bit better. Now, there's really not a lot behind a Bitcoin as there is, let's say, organizations that are using an XRP to try to develop within the XRP space. But to me, it's all connected. You can't separate them at this point. If Bitcoin's going to do well and start expanding, then XRP has to do well and keep expanding. Ethereum has to do well and keep expanding. The whole industry as a whole has to do well and keep expanding. You're going to have some projects that fall off, some projects that do amazing, just like in the high-tech craze. But as a whole, the objective during the high-tech craze was how much further forward can we push this internet thing? So here it's how much further forward can we push this blockchain, digital asset, crypto thing. It's not about being a Bitcoin maxi or an XRP maxi. It's about getting the space to a point, but then falling back on the principles. What happened in the stock market during the high-tech craze? They fell back on traditional principles of a business, substance, not empty substance and big promises and hype, but actually something that is going to have full utility and is going to generate money. So you look at RippleNet is the perfect example, right? That is actually going to generate and make money, unlike some of the other projects out there, but it's solving a problem. It's a solution. Now here you have, this was on the Daily Huddle, again, came out yesterday. Morgan Stanley veteran calls XRP a clear leader in the cross-border space. Says that Bitcoin and crypto portfolios offer unique chance to earn 100 times. Now, there's so much going on. There's so many people from all over that are looking at how do you move money? Can you use Swift? Is Swift the right solution for remittance payments, for cross-border payments? Is it difficult? Yes, we've talked about it so many times on this show, and others have as well. But why does XRP have a leg up from everybody else? Because they have RippleNet, right? RippleNet is the solution that's facilitating these cross-border payments. There's a lot of others that are going to try to dabble in it, but RippleNet is already there. Ripple as an organization has already said, hey, Swift, we're knocking on your door. We want to have a solution to allow organizations, financial institutions, and banks to easily move money between countries without any tie-ups, without any issue. And we want to be able to do it in seconds. So that is the leg up. Now, there can be other solutions out there that are going to try to do it in a decentralized framework outside of the bank. But in reality, real world today still uses banks. And 10 years from now, most likely, real world is still going to be using banks, right? So, when you look at it from that perspective, then you realize you can't go into a fully decentralized kind of mechanism where it's just P2P movement of funds and you don't have the bank, in the middle. And so I think that is the one point, and why from a overall, macro perspective, not even at the minutia of the micro, but when you pull back, you're going to see that because of the real world utility, because of what the XRPL is, because of what XRP can provide, because of what the RippleNet solution is. That's the transitional point. Now, all of this goes back to the beginning of our conversation here, which is regulatory clarity, which is really tying up a lot of things, which is why regulatory clarity has to go on the fast track. Now, to really summarize all this, and I think it's really critical as we look at it, because something that we've talked about a lot on the show is, has to do with exchanges and banks. And my point has always been, which goes first? Does the bank start buying exchanges, or does the exchange start buying banks or get banking license to truly bank? Now, if you look at a lot of these exchanges, they're offering banking type solutions. You can tie up, you can stake, you can earn interest, you can borrow. There's all these things that you can do. You can hold your asset there that are traditionally in the hands of the bank. So a digital exchange is already there. A Coinbase is basically your bank for digital assets. They just aren't called a bank. They don't necessarily have a debit card yet. They don't have ATMs. There's a lot of things they're missing. But for all intents and purposes, they're a bank. Finance, now with Celsius, and you can earn interest and you can borrow. You can do so much. It's just like banking, but it's still not there yet. Now, so I always talk about this bleed over. What's going to happen first? So here you have today, September 16th, and this was on AMB Crypto. You could read about it in other places. This is the article, I pulled it up. So thank you, WB, for sending this over. But Kraken Exchange sets up America's first crypto bank in Wyoming. Months and months and months and months and months ago, we talked about Wyoming as a clear, safe haven place for digital asset development. Now, Kraken is based out of San Francisco, but they have announced that the U.S. state of Wyoming has approved their application to form Kraken Financial, this is in the article, which would allow it to provide seamless banking services between cryptocurrencies and fiat for Kraken clients in the U.S. This move would make Kraken Financial the world's first special purpose depository institution based in Wyoming. Now, why is this so critical? And why is it so critical? What happened not that long ago when the OCC passed some clarity that said that the banks can actually hold digital asset. So I think that's really clear. That we're kind of moving in a direction that the banks, there's this blurring of the lines that's going on right now between the banks and the digital asset exchanges. Custody digital assets. That's what I meant. So banks can actually custody the digital assets. Now, it's happening, right? Is it happening at the pace and speed that everybody wanted? All the FOMO guys out there, the hypesters, that 589s and 1,000 price tomorrow, all the big price predictions. Does it happen overnight? No. Is it the same 2017 to 2018 last quarter FOMO hype? Can it happen? It happened before. There's a possibility it could happen again, but now it's got to establish a base, and that's what the past couple of years has been all about, is establishing the foundation, establishing the base. So that's it. This was a much longer video than I intended. We're at the 24-minute mark. I hope you guys stayed in throughout the whole thing. If you did, then I really appreciate that. Make sure you give it some thumbs up, thumbs down, comments, hit the subscribe button, and make sure you check out the live stream, the Hodl Review live stream, every Saturday morning at 8 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. Until then, I don't know. I guess I'm out of here. I'll check you guys out.
Are you down with OTC? Please like, subscribe, and click the bell to be notified when the next video drops.